What's up guys, it's Ryan from Motorcycle.com. We're here with the Shoei GT-Air3. Welcome to End Gear. So as the name implies, this is the third iteration of Shoei's GT Air helmet. This helmet sits in the lineup as a full-face touring offering from the brand, and there's not a huge update for this new version, but there are changes to the aerodynamics of the helmet, the ventilation, and the shield. So let's get into it. So just some quick basics. The shell is going to be the same advanced integrated matrix construction. You're going to get 3 shell sizes with this helmet, and the first shell size is going to cover extra small through medium, large gets its own, and then XL through 2XL is the third shell size. This helmet has the SRL3 Sena system installed in it, which is made for this helmet and the Neotec 3. A little bit more on that later, but all in with the communication system and the helmet, this thing weighs in at 4 pounds, 0.8 ounces. So not terribly light, but you know, it's not all that bad either. So pricing starts for this helmet at $750, which is $50 more than the GT Air2 back in the day. Not an inexpensive helmet, but it is going to be that Shoei quality that you have come to expect, the comfort, general quality of the helmet and its features and its functionality. This stunning scenario graphic comes in at $850, so you're gonna have to pop for an extra $100 if you want to get something that looks this good. So this is a DOT only helmet. There are ECE versions sold in Europe, but in the US this helmet only has a DOT rating. So the ventilation has kind of been reworked. The big chin bar vent here, which is pretty chonky, so it's easily adjustable. Also, the vent on the top of the head is pretty big, so both are super easy to move with gloves on. The vent on the top has been moved forward a little bit, not a big change there, but I would say ventilation overall is adequate. Honestly, I'd like a little bit more. They did rework the exhaust vents too. They actually brought them up higher on the helmet, so you can see them up here, which is an interesting choice because obviously if you're a touring rider or a commuter, because this can totally pull double duty, I wonder about the potential of getting rain into that, given that it's so, you know, high up on the top of the helmet. That said, I haven't experienced any issues, but I haven't wore this helmet in any pouring rain. So ventilation, it's been changed up a little bit. I would still like to have more of it. I know when I didn't have the pin lock installed on the shield, which you have a pin lock ready shield and it comes in the box, nice feature. When I didn't have the pin lock installed on the shield, the thing fogs up fairly quickly. So again, ventilation is something that, although it's been changed, I kind of wish it ventilated a little bit better. Other big updates are kind of, you know, you can kind of look at the helmet. It's slightly different in its design, but the aerodynamic shape of the helmet is something that Shoei focused on with this GT Air3. You can see on the sides, you've got these side pods. These were added to kind of basically bring down the level of noise inside the helmet. That said, I always wear earplugs with my helmets. I don't think this helmet's particularly loud, but I always would suggest for any motorcyclist to wear earplugs within their helmet. That was a feature they added. Again, we've got some subtle revisions to the shape and the back in terms of aerodynamics. I haven't had a problem with it. I've worn it on a lot of different bikes, used it with naked bikes, used it with more touring adventure bikes, and aerodynamics haven't been an issue for me with this helmet. I don't get any excessive lift, or when I turn my head, I don't get any excessive wind blast. Pretty happy with it in that regard. So yeah, another addition, you have the pin lock ready shield with the pin lock in the package, which is the same that you had with the GT Air2, but now you have, the shield has detents, which I'm a huge fan of. Arai doesn't use detents. I like having them in a motorcycle helmet. But what's the biggest change with this is the locking mechanism with the button press right here. So you'll notice when I try to push down on this, I can't get it to lock. Now I've got it locked. It's easy to unlock with the button and pop up. The Neotec 3 that I've used is a little bit easier. This GT Air3 is a little bit harder. The Neotec 3 is also somewhat finicky with this locking mechanism, but this GT Air3 that I've got here and been using, it's kind of a pain to get locked sometimes. You really have to press it or kind of get in the right position to get that thing to close and lock down. Of course, if you're, you know, in adverse conditions or whatever, you can get that thing locked in and you know it's secure and you know it's locked. but it's not the slickest system. And then, so looking inside the helmet, you've got the same kind of comfort you'd expect from Shoei, but what you do have with this helmet and the Neotec 3 versus some other helmets in Shoei's lineup is this micro ratchet system. Some people, it seems to be a polarizing thing. I really like it. I also don't have a problem with D-rings, so maybe I'm one of the weird ones that doesn't really feel one way or the other. But that said, that's a really easy mechanism, quick on, quick off. They actually reinforced this strap and made it a little bit thinner as well. But I'm a fan of the micro ratchet system. You've got it in this lid and the Neotec 3 from Shoei, and I think it's a great feature. Shoei's been doing it for a long time, but if you see these pieces here, that's the quick release mechanism. You've got a little sticker here to let emergency personnel know if you are unfortunate enough to need it, that they can just pull those out without having to jostle your head around or spine around too much. Like almost all of Shoei's helmets, they are going to be customizable with their PFS program, which allows you to get the pads custom shaped to fit exactly the way you want. If you need a little bit more in the forehead, you need a little bit less in the cheeks, whatever. If you go to an authorized dealer, you can get your GT Air3 custom fit to make sure that it fits your head as best as it possibly can. So another one of my favorite features with this helmet is really going to be the Sena SRL3 system that integrates super seamlessly. And you've got the control panel here, which is now smaller than it was in the past on the previous version. And you charge it back here, the battery is installed right there, and then you've got the Shoei Comlink system piece on this side. The helmet is designed to use this system, and Sena worked this out with Shoei. So pulling the pads out and getting this thing installed is super easy. And once you have it in there, it's just super seamless. The thing works just as good as any of Sena's products, and I found it super easy, functional. You can set it up with voice commands. It's a really nice thing to have in this helmet versus having a unit, sticking off the side. Definitely, if you're interested in a comm system and you have a Neotec 3 or the GT Air3, that's definitely going to be something that I would suggest grabbing. So I would say my time spent with the Shoei GT Air3 has been exactly what I expected it to be. I mean, niggles about the locking mechanism and the ventilation are definitely there, but otherwise this is a very comfortable helmet from Shoei, and I've spent time in it, warm rides, cold rides, slightly wet rides, and I don't have any issues with it. This helmet has all of the touring niceties that you would want for, long road trips. You got the drop-down visor, you've got the ratcheting system that gets it on and off your head quickly. I mean, it fits the same way for me, the X14, RF1400, all of these helmets that Shoei has had out that have been great helmets, the GT Air3 fits just as comfortably as any of those and fits my head the same way. It's that intermediate oval head shape. But again, as far as touring niceties go, this helmet is pretty well featured to not only be great for touring, but be great for basically anything. I dig this helmet a lot. I've been using it kind of as much as possible. The iridescent kind of patch on this asymmetrical colorway I think looks super cool. And the pearlescent white with this kind of little design that it might be hard to see it's just a really, really nicely finished helmet. And again, it's super comfortable. It's a little heavy, but I plan on using this thing quite a bit more. And I think if you're in the market for a full face lid from Shoei, the GT Air 3 is probably a great option.